Okay, we have the exception. 2018 Ford Escape. Customer states, why doesn't my auto start stop work? I've got no lights or anything on. Nothing's malfunctioning. Why doesn't it work? I want it to work. Well, there's the majority of people out there that don't want it to work and would probably think that's a blessing in disguise. What could cause the auto start stop not to work? Well, not to work would mean that it's not up to operating temperature. Could be because of that. It could mean because you have it set to a certain temperature AC wise in the vehicle and it's having a hard time keeping it, so it has to put enough load on the circuit to where it doesn't see the relinquishment of a load. So it needs to stay running to be able to supply that power to create that atmospheric temperature that people want. It could be because somebody recently had a battery replaced and it still sees that there's been no BMS reset in the system. It could be that when you come up to a stop, you have too soft of a braking event that it doesn't detect a certain amount of line pressure, it won't shut it off. It could keep it on because it doesn't like how erratic that it's charging the battery. A battery could be going bad but not yet completely testing bad, monitoring the electrical system, and it thinks in that instance that it needs to keep the system operating in order to keep a stable amount of current for the vehicle to operate correctly. There's so many things that go into this. There's like a 3.5 page document that explains all the different things that go into the auto start stop that customers don't even realize. It's not just get in your vehicle and then it should stop or start every single time you come to a stop. It doesn't work that way. The auto start stop in the Ford systems actually deactivate themselves after 10 events in a drive cycle. So if you're in the city and stop and go traffic and you hit that 10th event, on the 11th event the auto start stop will not function anymore, or that's how it should operate, because it's trying to protect the system at that point. The auto start stop is not meant to auto start stop over and 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 over again. So a lot of people don't even understand it. A lot of people complain about it. They don't like it. Well, this guy says I want it. Let's figure out what's going on. Well, let's see if we can get it to happen. We may not meet the criteria for it to happen. It could have a bad battery in it. First, let's start by testing the battery. Alright, going through and testing right now. I did verify it is a BAGM or bag-on battery 760 cold cranking amps. That's what has to be in the auto start stop vehicles. The auto start stop vehicles are about 250 to 300 cold cranking amps higher than your standard batteries because of that, the auto start stop. Conducting test. This is not a warrantable battery, so this you won't need to plug the VIN number or anything into this. You could just, okay, now it's gonna load test. Let's see what happens. See, for this to be a battery that was already at 12.2 volts and it's already charging at 39.7 amps, that high, a little bit of an issue there. There's probably something wrong with this battery, but we'll see. It may take a long time to pull it out of a discharge state, it may say there's a certain amount of amperage, but it may be sulfated, or a certain amount of voltage, but the cells may be sulfated, so it may take probably 20 minutes, a half hour to almost an hour to get this battery back up to a good testing state to actually reset the battery monitor if it does pass, and then take it back out to see if that's what caused the issue. Because letting your voltage drop low can cause issues with the auto start stop system as well. You know, like people let their battery die or leave something on or whatever it may be. Who knows? Okay, it's good battery. I'm gonna pull as you can see here, not a single code present in the computer. Nothing to be worried about. ABS, ACM, APIM, BCM, FCDIM. No codes, nothing. So nothing to go off of to figure out why the auto start stop is not working, other than a 3.5 page document of different criteria. I would think that people would be blessed to not have the auto start stop working, but this guy wants it working. Let's continue. Nothing wrong with the battery, no codes in the computer. I apologize for the beeping in the background. This does not want to shut up. It's just beeping, beeping, beeping. So I'm going to go through and do a BMS reset and then go test drive it, see what we got. BMS reset. Maybe the battery went dead a couple times or something and threw everything off, so go ahead and do that now. Okay, BMS reset complete. I barely pulled out of the shop. I didn't have the camera recording, and as soon as I pulled up to the stop sign leaving our parking lot, the auto start stop worked immediately. So maybe it was just you see how the gray light's not on no more? It's staying blank. That means everything's functioning fine. So all I did was a battery monitor reset, and now all of a sudden it's working. So I'm coming up to a stop up here. Let's see if the green light pops on like it did. Alright, coming to a stop right now. There it is, it auto start stopped. Let's do it again right here. Okay, it functioned, it auto start stopped. So it is currently working. I have the radio off, I have all the AC off, I have no load on the system other than just the regular driving conditions. And I let off the gas or the brake just now, and it started immediately. So how many was that? One out of the parking lot, one right there, 3 right there. Let's make this happen 10 times and see if it disables the auto start stop like we think it will. Pull into this parking lot right here. Because after 10 times, Ford says it should disable the system. So let's come to a stop let's come to a stop on flat ground instead of going uphill like I just was. So come to a stop here at this little stop sign. Auto start stop, that's number 4. So the auto start stop is functioning fine. It was just a simple battery monitor reset that took it offline, and now it's working. So, you know, if you start your vehicle and there's an automatic gray light that pops up immediately, like when you go to put it in drive and in the corner it doesn't look, but instead it's a gray light, that means something needs to be reset in the system. Doesn't mean anything's wrong, just means something needs to be reset. Like maybe the battery went dead one too many times and the system needs to be reset to let it know everything's okay. Some people may choose to not have it reset because they don't want it to work. That's an option. Doesn't mean anything's going to go bad, just means the auto start stop is not going to function. There's also a number of other things: how much brake pressure, how much load is on the system, how much the battery needs to, how much load shed actually happens, and then the vehicle needing to keep it up to charge. It may not even start the auto start stop because the battery may not have failed, but maybe it is in a weak state and it needs to keep it up to its operating state. There's criteria here that have to be met in order for it to work properly, and the one that we found was like on the 2nd or 3rd page back. Needs to know that the battery monitor state is up to par, and I had to go in and do a BMS reset to reset the system to let it know everything's okay. Well, thanks guys, I appreciate you. Vehicle fixed.